what comes to mind when you hear the name Austin Aries? Is it his signature in-ring athleticism, second to none matches at the peak of his career, or maybe it's his 37 title reigns? I bet almost none of those came to mind. Unfortunately, a vast majority of the wrestling community can only think about past incidents or negative stories told through shoot interviews and podcasts. So much so that those stories seem to completely overshadow almost all of his accomplishments. And that is why I'm making this video. To understand why a man who at one time was considered one of the best on the roster could just as easily gain the reputation as being one of the worst to deal with. Austin Aries began his journey into wrestling in 2000 when he began being trained by Terry Fox and Eddie Sharkey, who some refer to as trainer of champions, having trained legends like the Road Warriors, Jesse Ventura, Rick Rude, X-Pac, and Rick Steiner, just to name a few. He spent his first few years there honing his craft and then moved on to the East Coast Wrestling Association in Delaware, where he competed in the 2004 Super 8 tournament, making it to the finals before being eliminated by Christopher Daniels. In April of 2004, Aries joined Ring of Honor, debuting in a four-corner survival match, losing to Nigel McGuinness. A month later, during Ring of Honor's Generation Next show, Aries joined the heel faction, taking on the same name. The event was originally going to consist of matches between up-and-comers on the ROH roster, and the wrestlers in these matches were voted on by the people in attendance. The first match on the card was originally going to be a triple threat tag team match between Christopher Street Connection, the Ring Crew Express, and Special K, when Alex Shelley, Roderick Strong, Austin Aries, and Jack Evans ran in and broke up the match, declaring themselves the best that Ring of Honor has to offer. Their MO was to take the opportunities instead of earning them, and that's exactly what Aries did when he challenged the Ring of Honor longest reigning world champ Samoa Joe to a title match at Final Battle 2004, dethroning him from glory. As champ, he put together a great string of title defenses against the likes of Kevin Steen, Bryan Danielson, Roderick Strong, and Homicide. He also took over as head trainer after CM Punk signed with WWE, but not before Punk beat Aries for the title, ending his 6-month reign. From there, he went on to team up with Roderick Strong to win the ROH World Tag Team Championship, and disbanding Generation Next shortly after. However, the union between Aries and Strong was short-lived, because Strong turned his back on Aries after one of their matches, going on to form the No Remorse Corps with David Richards. In response, Aries formed the Resilience with Eric Stevens and Matt Cross. In July of 2005, TNA held an internet poll to select an opponent for the TNA X Division champion, Christopher Daniels, at the August 14th pay-per-view Sacrifice. Billed as an internet dream match, the poll offered voters the choice of Aries, Roderick Strong, Jay Lethal, and Matt Sydal, none of whom were under contract with TNA at the time. Aries won the poll by a landslide and thus faced Daniels in a non-title match at Sacrifice, which he lost. Following the event, it was rumored that TNA officials had been impressed by Aries and were considering offering him a contract. He signed in September. His time in TNA didn't go as smoothly as he would have wanted. In 2006, he was suspended along with Roderick Strong for 2 months after arriving to a show 4 hours late. This occurred because Aries and Strong's decision to remain in Long Island for an ROH show, despite TNA's last-minute request to travel to Florida because of a potential snowstorm. He then underwent a slight name change, going from Austin Aries to Austin Starr. In 2007, he was suspended for 90 days due to reportedly having a bad attitude about having to record a vignette on a day that he believed to be off. During the suspension, he requested his release, and it was granted. After his departure from TNA, he returned to Ring of Honor, picking up where he left off, getting involved with the Resilience and the No Remorse Corps feud. In 2009, Aries found himself back at the top of the mountain when he won a 3-way elimination match against the ROH World Champion Jerry Lynn and Tyler Black, becoming the first person to hold the Ring of Honor World Championship more than once. The following February, he lost the title to Tyler Black. Later that year, in October, Aries' profile was removed from ROH's website after reports that they wanted to cut down the size of the roster. Over the next year, he performed for the Dragon Gate USA and Evolve. He even tried out for Tough Enough, but didn't make the cast. Summer of 2011, Aries returned to TNA, winning the X Division Showcase for a contract. He was completely devoted to the division at that point. He won an 8-man gauntlet to earn a shot at the X Division Championship at No Surrender. Aries defeated Brian Kendrick to win the title, going on to have a record-breaking run. Things were so good, he signed an extension with the company. Being at the top of the X Division wasn't enough though. He wanted to be at the top of TNA, period. He voiced his intention and was promised a title shot by then GM Hulk Hogan, but there was a catch. Aries would have to relinquish the X Division Championship first before he could pursue the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. He agreed to Hogan's terms with the condition that every year before the annual Destination pay-per-view, future X Division champions would be given the same opportunity. Aries relinquished the X Division Championship 2 weeks later, ending his record-breaking reign at 301 days. On July 8, Aries defeated Bobby Roode in the main event of Destination X to become the new TNA World Heavyweight Champion. That reign only lasted 98 days. On July 17th, TNA President Dixie Carter announced that Aries had signed a new long-term deal with the promotion. For the remainder of 2012, he would stay in the title picture, constantly challenging for the title or being involved in some capacity with the pursuit of it. The next 2 years in TNA were championship years for Austin Aries. He started the year of 2013 capturing the Tag Team Championship alongside Bobby Roode. Although he didn't win the TNA Championship again during that time, he dominated the X Division, having multiple reigns, becoming a 6-time champion. His time in TNA was once again coming to an end, and for Aries, there was only one place left to prove himself, and that was the WWE. January of 2016, he made the move, debuting on NXT. That was about the height of his WWE career, because the rest of the time was plagued by injury and different views on the direction of his career. For a brief moment, he reunited with Roderick Strong to compete in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, but had to withdraw from the tournament due to injury. Aries had suffered a large orbital socket injury during a live event match against Shinsuke Nakamura, and it was expected that he would be injured until early 2017. WWE put Aries behind the announcer's table as a commentator on 205 Live and Main Event until he was healthy. Once healthy, he competed for the Cruiserweight Championship a couple times, but nothing memorable came of that stint in WWE. On July 7, 2017, Aries was released from his contract in WWE. Initial reports stated that Aries was frustrated with his role in the company and asked to be let out of his contract, but turns out that Aries didn't ask for his release and was said to be incredibly unpopular with WWE's writing staff and others backstage. In a 2019 interview, Aries confirmed that he did not ask for his release and was let go from the contract because the WWE writing staff didn't have anything for him. 2018, he made his return to Impact Wrestling with the new moniker, the Belt Collector. He would display all the belts he won from various promotions. He then defeated Eli Drake to win the Impact World Championship. Aries also won the Impact Grand Championship, defeating Matt Sydal a few days later in the winner-take-all match, which at that point made him an Impact Wrestling Grand Slam champion and a double champion within Impact Wrestling. At one point, even being a sextuple champion because he held 6 titles between 5 companies based in 3 different continents. He was a 3-time Impact World Champion at this time, with some successful defenses. His last defense came with the Mince controversy. He was slated to face Johnny Impact for the title at Bound for Glory. The two began to trade insults on Twitter as it worked, with Impact making jokes about Aries' height. But as it went on, it began to take on more of a shoot, especially when Aries began taking personal shots at Johnny, even going so far as to talk about his wife Taya Valkyrie's weight. This caused a real issue between them. The feud even made it to TMZ Live, making it seem to be more real than before. It was then given a heavy shove into a serious situation when the two wrestlers got into a brawl the night before Bound for Glory during Abyss's Impact Hall of Fame induction. What happened the next night still follows Aries around to this day. During the finish of the match, Johnny Impact hit the Starship Pain and pinned for the win. Aries immediately got up, rolled out of the ring, no selling the finish, flipping off the crowd, confusing everyone watching. Reports later attributed Aries getting up so fast following the finish of the match to a concussion Aries suffered during the match. Petey Williams stated that Bound for Glory was actually the last date on Aries' contract. It was later reported that both Johnny Impact and Aries started an online feud without management's permission. Austin Aries has maintained that it was all staged, pointing to Impact's cameras continuing to film him after allegedly going off script. He stated that the plan was to have a rematch with Johnny eventually. However, that never happened because he never came back to the company. Aries' contract ended up expiring. That incident left a stain on his name because it fell in line with stories about his reputation over the years in different companies. One thing about Austin Aries is he has nuclear heat with multiple people in the business, and those people have shared their experiences with the masses through shoot interviews and podcasts. At this point, no major company wanted to touch him. Nothing but negativity was associated with his name, and it did not stop with the heat in the business. What came outside of the business was far more detrimental to his career and life. In June of 2023, women came forward alleging that they were sexually assaulted by Aries. This was also at the height of the speaking out movement that had put a few other wrestlers like Joey Ryan and Jimmy Havoc in hot water. Their careers never recovered. Aries tried not to meet the same fate. He denied the allegations and released a short apology, apologizing for his behavior over the years and simply apologizing to people he may have hurt through his behavior. He returned to the ring in November of 2021 after taking a hiatus from the business, participating in a tournament for the NWA World Junior Heavyweight Championship, which he lost. He went on to join Control Your Narrative alongside EC3 in 2022, but as we know, that went absolutely nowhere. Today, Austin Aries is in a different place in his life. He tapped into his spirituality, taking up meditation, and he's also become vegan. He's very focused on being a better man, and so far, so good. He continues to work indie dates, showcasing how he hasn't lost a step. You may never see him at the top of a major promotion again, and he seems content with that. And he also seems very happy with where he is today. Thanks for checking out this episode, guys. Like, share, subscribe, and comment down below who you would like to see me cover next.